Right, great. Right. So we're going on to do private line automatic ring down. Right. So you might say SPLA. Um so that is just something where does ring the phone automatically. We ring another phone automatically as a raise up the handset. Right. And just like the example in this book, people might use it for like an elevator. So people in the elevator stuck or something, whatever reason you want to call the elevator operator. Once you pick up the handset, it rings the phone. Whoever you want to ring, maybe the elevator in case of an elevator, you might just pick up the phone will ring the elevator operator, and you can talk to that person, right? Um, so the phone has the tech out Norfolk, right? So this is two phones connected to the CME, two analog phones, right? And this is the command here, voice port. You go under the voice port and you put in connection PLAR, and you put the extension under there. So once you put a PLAR under what that command will just make it to an automatic ring. So they tell you now that the voice port is hard coded to 1102 as soon as the user left the handset, right? And I think they give another scenario here is when the receptionist phone. So you have some lines going out to the PSTN. You have these PSTN coming to the FXO, right? And then what will happen? So the PSTN, the provider, they mightn't be sending so CME wouldn't know. So let me say I want to go to the operator, remember they don't have any auto attendant in this scenario. So you want the person to go to the receptionist. So when the person call, all you might get is the CME might just hear, might not hear, but will just see the caller ID, but wouldn't know which where to send the call internally. So what will normally happen is the CME will play a second dial tone. So you call the number, you might get one ring and the phone going to a dial tone. Now the user, if you hear that, you might get confused. What is this? And next dial tone. Now, if you know what to do, you will press the 1500 for the operator. All the CME, the reason why the CME will send the second dial tone is because it wanted to dial an extension. Remember, it had auto attendant telling it to dial an extension. So that people who know will dial an extension, but people who don't know will get confused. So what PLAR will do on those lines, once you put in this command, this is the operator extension here, connect on the both lines. Let me say just two, a small business, just two analog phone lines coming into the company. All you have to do is put this command under the two ports, the two analog ports that's coming in from the PSTN, and you put connection PLAR 1500. So as the person calls the pilot number, CME will automatically send that to the 1500, which is the receptionist. So that's a second scenario where you will use this stuff. Right. So like I said, that's another scenario. If you enter the 1500 command under the FXO, the router receives the incoming calls for the PSTN and immediately forwards the receptionist phone rather than a second dial tone. So that was they say for effect. Well, with CME, this is for CME, not really for core manager. Because I have for certain customers like Office of the Prime Minister and thing, they have some analog lines still. Along with the T1, they have some analog lines for dial for people who want to call like the PS on them directly. They have some direct analog lines, and I configure it in a way that I configure it in a way for it to go straight to the IP phone to the so it comes in on the analog port, hit the voice gateway at MO2, and then I translate, do my translation and so on, and it will ring it will ring the PS or our manager phone directly, right? Nothing to be done. Yeah, so the person will not have to go to the auto attend. So connection, PLAR connections is something you will need to do. All right. So digital connections like T1 and E1 receive the INS information where the router can forward the ID services. So, right. So T1 different. So like so what they're really saying here is again for the FXO ports, it will send the caller ID. So so I call in into a CME system. The CME will see the call ID, but it wouldn't know the call number, right? This number I call in, right? So if I call in 710 200 2000, the CME wouldn't see that number, right? But with T1 will see both the call ID and the dial number, right? Right. So we're going on to understanding router code processing and digit manipulation. So we kind of right. This is I kind of showed that yesterday with NIB how you manipulate digits and so on, right? So this is a command here dial pair voice one VoIP because remember this is a VoIP dial pair here now and the destination pattern. So if somebody calls 555 between 1, 2, or 3, the phone number to be 1, 2, or 3, and then anything after that, it will send it to this IP address, right? And same thing for this one. Once you start your number with 5551, could I, right? So, yeah, right. But you realize something here, right? If you have, so what we're gonna find out here, because remember the first dial pair is 5551 to 3. Now if you press 5552, then it will know to use this dial pair. But if somebody presses 5551, it matches both dial pair there, right? As you can see here, right? All right, so you can see. Yeah. So if the user dials 55123, right, I will now say it matches both dial pairs, but the router chooses to use the dial pair 2 because it's more specific match, right? So that is where how the router will choose. It will go with a more specific match. So now example 615 shows what happens if you add the third dial pair to this configuration. So let me see the third dial pair here. So So they had the first one is the same, the second one is the same, and the third one is the same. Right. So you realize what will happen here now? If you press 5551, it matches all three dial pairs. Right? If you that dial 551 2 3 4, the router uses dial pair 3 to route the call. Likewise, the router processes only the 5551 and drops the 234. This can be useful for emergencies such as 911 and 9991 in America, in North America, because the call immediately routed when the user dials this specific pattern. So they said, I watching this here. So if anything, if you want to call 234 after that, you can't reach it because the router will always, as the router get the first four digits, it uses that pair 3, right? So if you have a question, I wish I'll be able to Cisco. Yeah. it will, yeah, it will ring the register. Yep. You put it in, but it wouldn't take it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is where the test manipulation will come in, yeah. Right? No. Yeah, 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 you have to be careful. Yeah, you have to be careful when you're using that. Yeah. Because because I have to be very careful when I use an emergency. So I will configure emergency numbers and say for a customer like 555 999X. So I will put in 99 dot or whatever to match so somebody can call 999 or 990 and it at 81. I'll put in all those. So I had to make sure that I have no extension. When I put in 811 and all those things, I have to make sure that I have no extension that overlapping with that. Because if somebody trying to call 81110, as I press 811, they will call the ambulance. I think that the ambulance was 811 now, right? It will call the ambulance instead of going to the person's extension. So yes, yes, had a real plan out here, dial plan and so on when you're doing when you're implementing a PBX, right? So they're giving you an example we could do. I just avoid it totally, but they will give you an example of here what to do, right? So you have this first one here, which I had before, and then dial pair 3 of 5551T, right? So you use the wildcard. Notice that T after the right card, which matches 0 to 32 numbers. Using the dial extension 5551, now have to press the pound key after. So you see what's going on there. So remember the T that we were talking about yesterday. This time the router will wait, right? So that's what the T does after. So they put instead of just putting in 5551, and then the user as you press, say put just 5551, and you're trying to press 555123, it will ring 5551 like we were talking about just now. If you put the T after, the router wouldn't dial the 555. It wouldn't dial it right away. It will keep on waiting. You understand? Yeah. So yeah. But remember, it's about timeout, right? 10 seconds. Well, yeah, I was wondering if it's 10 to 15, but they're saying here is 10 seconds, right? So if you press nothing else for 10 seconds, then it will ring the 5551. So if you want to go on to press here 555, triple 51234, it will take it now because remember it will wait for the other digits. But if you only want to call, but if you only want to call 5551, you can press the pound key to tell this. That will tell the system. And yeah, it wouldn't wait. That's where the difference comes in. Yeah, because it will wait for up to 32 digits after you press that 5551. You understand? Yeah, it will wait for 32 digits. So even if you're putting 10 digits after, it's still waiting for more. And after 10 seconds, then it will ring. Like I say, if you know you don't dial in and you want to wait for that 10 seconds, the system will just be hanging there waiting for 10 seconds. You just press pound key. Hey, I finished dialing. Ring the number. Yeah, 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 yeah. Cause the system might be waiting. Yeah, right. So this section here is how you match inbound and outgoing dial pairs. So it says when a router receives a call, it always match a dial pair in some way for the router to take place. What we talk, I think we kind of talk about this, touch on this yesterday. Yeah, right. You have to come up with a lot of strategy for outcome. So you have to have an incoming, it has to match an incoming number and a incoming dial pair, sorry, and an outgoing dial pair, right? So this example here, call leg. So you look at the dial pairs, you have your dial pair. I can look at this 2510 VoIP, which is a VoIP dial pair. So that will match. This is for, so let me see the IPs here, right? So it tells this router that anybody, once you call 2510, send it to this IP address, right? And then you have a port style pair. It tells you once you call 1101, send it to this port now, which is this port here, for this phone, right? And then you have dial pair 2510 ports, not an, but that's on a different route. So you could use the dial pair 2510 because it's a different route that this config is on. And destination pattern is 2510, which is the phone, the analog phone on your right hand side. No digit strip, we talked about the digit strip yesterday. And port is 10. This is a T1CS. Once you see 1/0:1, you know that is a CAS T1. T1, right? Yeah, a T1, but it's a CAS, not PRI, right? So send it through this T1 port here, and it will go to this phone. Remember, between this PBX, between the PBX and router B, right? Yeah, between the PBX and router B is a T1 connection. And what will happen? This PBX will, remember the router is not a PBX, but you could put on a dial pair on the router, right? And all you're telling the router to do is just send it to this PBX, and this PBX will know which phone to ring. Because the phone is actually connected to the internal PBX. So that's our old legacy PBX you're seeing there, right? And And then on the router, you put a dial pair 1101 and you tell it anytime a person call 1101, anytime they call 1101, send it to this IP address. And that's the IP address of the CME. So you're on this other site and you call 1101, the router sees the call, okay, let me send it to this IP address, that's the IP address CME. When the CME receives it, the CME will forward it to CME will say, okay, I receive 11 digits 1101. Let me look up my database. Right, 1101 is on port 100. Send it to that phone. And that's it. Yeah, simple as that. But that's when incoming and outgoing dial pairs. Right? So what they are saying here is in relation to the calls, complete the call, right? So we tell you that's how we complete the call from 1101 to 2510 and vice versa. Right? So you're matching your outbound dial pairs. Incoming dial pairs has always give me used to give me real problems in the beginning, right? So take the Alpes in the incoming, and to me the outgoing Alpes was very simple to understand, right? So let me see. So the Gabanian thing is, so take the dial digit and compare the definition pattern under the dial pairs. You configure on the router to find the most specific match. So if from 11, if 1101 dials 2510, the CME router, so this case is, so you're on the right, you're on the left here, so that phone calls 2510. The CMA router looks up his dial pairs and realizes that this is a VoIP dial pair, right? So we talked about that, and it goes to the IP address 10.1.1.1.2, right? So I already kind of said this. When the router B received the code, it realized the dial pair, the dial digits are exact match to the post dial pair 2510, which causes the router to send the code to the T1. So yeah, so I talked about that just now. The process explain how the router matches the outbound dial pair shown in figure 10, right? Core legs 2 and 3. So you're seeing core legs 2 and 3 here, right? So this is the outbound dial pairs which they're talking about here. But how the router match the inbound dial pairs? A router matches inbound dial through the following methods, right? So this is the first thing it tries to match, right? This is the TINS, so that's the dial number, right? It's called a DNIS. It's in the incoming dial pair configuration command. If it doesn't have that, then it will try to match the caller ID using the answer address dial pair configuration command. If it doesn't get that, then it's match the caller ID information using the destination pattern dial pair configuration command. So if you don't see this command here, then it will use. So again, if you don't see this, it will try this one. If you don't see this, it will try this one, right? If you don't see that, it will match an incoming port dial pair by using the port dial pair configuration command. Right? If none of these, if no match has been found using the previous four method, then it use dial pair 0, which you pretty good. You don't ever, you hope that the system never use dial pair 0, right? Because later on we will see why we shouldn't want to use the incoming dial pair 0. Now, anyhow, I can't remember everything from what we got, but it's something you would. Yeah. So look at 16, because course 2 and 4 are counted for as outbound dial pairs matched by using the DINS. So it matches the outbound dial pair because the call number is 25. 1101 is calling 2510, right? So it uses the dial digits to match the outbound dial pair, which is, like I said, outbound dial pair is much more easier to understand. Right? So it matches the dial number information against the dial pattern command, right? Using the dial pairs. Here's how the router uses the previous of 5 rows to match it inbound dial pairs. So we get it here a little more by more. So this is a no match here, right? Because 2510, the dial number does not match an incoming. So we have no incoming dial pair number dial pair configuration on the CMEA because the command does not exist, right? If you watch the command, yeah, see no incoming dial pair command here. It always seen as destination pattern and so on, but we are not seeing any incoming dial pair command under the dial pair. So there's no match there. Second one, 1101 caller ID information. 1101 will send us caller ID does not match the answer address dial pair. We do not have this command under the dial pair either. So there's no match. So we go on to it will try the third method, which is 1101 caller ID information does not match the destination pattern dial pair. Right? The CME doesn't have a destination dial pair for 1101. It have a destination pattern for 25 it's 2510, yeah. It have a destination pattern for 2510, but it doesn't have a dial pair to match 1101, right? For all so it doesn't have an outgoing destination pattern for 1101. The destination pattern dial pair is 2510, right? Right. So right, so 4 it gets a match because it have a port. It uses the port now, right? Yeah, the effect. Yeah, which matches are in common pots dial pair on the CME using the dial pair configuration command. So this command is what it matches the port 100, right? So this is what it uses. That's the fourth one, right? So usually 5 steps process, the CME router is able to match the inbound dial pair using a command attached to the phone. The CME router then processes the outbound dial pair and call arrives at the router B. Once router B works through the 5-step process to match an inbound dial pair. So I think this is the router B now where one no match, it doesn't have the incoming. So um when the call comes in, the dial number does not match an incoming dial pair. So again, the router B doesn't have an incoming dial pair that matches the 2510. Right? Two no match, the 11 caller ID does not match the answer because that command is not on the router. So the first two, the command does not exist on the router, right? Shit. You know, yeah, but yeah. I don't realize that better you saying it a little more, right? Yeah, you know, yeah, man. Right. Let's check something. Right, so that was the first two. And now this is three now. So three is much because it have a dial pair. And if this is the same diagram, let's pick this illustration here. It's the same as above. No, I think no, it's different. No, it's different. Yeah, it's different. Yeah. Um, but anyhow, it does match the destination pattern dial pair command under for the dial pair 11 on router B. Right? So let's see. Right? So it matches. So this it sees the destination pattern 1101. So for inbound, that way it will use for as its inbound dial pair because it gets the caller ID from the phone calling, right? Will be sending its caller ID and it will use for if the inbound dial pair, it will use the destination pattern 1101 far match. So it will use this dial pair as its inbound dial pair, right? And so here, so in case of router B, its inbound dial pair will be dial pair 1101 and its let's go up a little bit, right? And its outbound dial pair will be this. Yeah, so you will notice that outbound to send it to this destination port 1101, right? But it's still, even though so it know where to send it, but it has like to match it has also have it has like to have an inbound dial pair to also match. So you always have it must match inbound and outbound. It outbound will tell it where to send it, but the inbound dial pair it had to match in because remember the code is coming in. Yeah, you was going to ask something. Inbound and outgoing dial pair. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right? So when it hits the router, okay, where's my inbound dial pair? Right, 1101 is my inbound dial pair. Where's my outbound dial pair? 2510. I will send it and for outbound, what yeah, what is yeah, so I think I get the drift there. Yeah. Right. Right. In case the verb that right, so this is my dial pair, incoming dial pair zero scenario. Yeah, I think they'll explain it, right? So TXT void dial pair lemon one router B doubles as both outgoing dial pair for calls placed to 11 1 and incoming dial pair. for calls dilemma one. Right. Now, to see the incoming matching process in the start matching, there's no VoIP dial plan 11.1 on router B, as shown in 11.1. So you realize they removed that 11.01 dial on the router. They removed the 11.01 dial what we had previously. So there's no inbound. So it will fail all the scenarios. It wouldn't match anything. Right? So we will see it ball by ball here. So the first result is that you cannot place calls to 11.1 from router B or the PBX system attached to router B. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they right. So imagine I pick up the phone on the right. I pick up that phone. I call 11.1. You realize that there's no dial pay matching. So that would have tell you the first result you could not place a call to 11.1 from router. Well, from 25. I will just say 25.10 because there's no matching outbound dial pay to go. Yeah, yeah. So you will get through, but yeah, sure. But we will see you. Yeah. We will, because remember, okay, so you pick if you're on this on the left hand side and you code the left more one, right? It will use this is your inbound outbound dial pair here, and it will notice that this IP address, and it will use the port zero as the as the inbound dial pair, right? To match as call ID, call ID, the call ID will be lemon one, right? It reaches the router here, and the router will see the digits 2510. Okay, yes, 2510. Okay, that goes to the other Senate here, to this port, which connects to the legacy PBX. But wait, right, so I'm an outbound dial pay, but where's my inbound dial pay? I have none, right? That's where the system will now use that incoming dial pay zero, which we will talk about now, right? Yeah, the system will automatically get that remember, that five. That is that option, that option, yeah, that's the option five, right? Right. So they don't tell you, so from 2510 you can't go in more one because that's out of the right? That's out of the scenario because you don't have the outgoing that'll pay for that. The CME and the router B routers have enough information to match outbound call legs. Router B is just missing the information for inbound that'll pay, right? Here's how the decision process will flow. Right? So you don't have no match because you don't have this command. So you do have this command on the router, incoming call number. So you don't have the yes no. So you have the dial numbers. So you have a let's see scenario, right? So you have an inbound, you have an outgoing dial pair. If it was your incoming dial pair, so you have no incoming call number command, right? You're not seeing any incoming on the router B. So you're not seeing that command. So nothing to match that 2510. You have no incoming call number 2510 or anything like that to match. The next match is the call ID. You have no answer address command on the route either. So there's no match. Call ID again does not match the destination pattern. Because you don't have a destination pattern 1101 on the router either. Right? You have 2510, but you don't have 1101. So that there's no match. The fourth one, 11.1, did not come in a POTS interface. That could be matched with port command. Rather, 11 came across a VoIP connection. So you don't have the port command 11.1 on the router either. Here you have it, fine coming on outgoing dial pair, but you don't have it here. So there's no match in the fourth scenario. So the fifth one match, route Because router B could not find a match using the previous four methods, it uses dial pair 0. So now this raises the question. What is that? You raise the question. What is dial pair 0? Dial pair 0 is like a voice gateway dial pair that appears when there is no dial pair match. This applies only for inbound dial pairs, right? As I was talking about. If you are not outbound dial pairs, thing done. Yeah, it has nothing the router can do. Like in the case, in the previous picture where we had, remember, we can't call from here to here because there's no outbound dial pair, right? To call 1101. So you just call it just can't happen. But what will it will give dial pair 0 for incoming dial pairs, right? So although this call, so let me see, although this allows the call to complete, you have no control over dial pair. So you cannot dial pair all the other dial pairs from one. You can't start from 0 because 0 is the system, right? From one to how much thousands you could configure. You use as your dial pair number. Dial 0, you have no control. So you could go under if I dial pair 1, I could go in under there and put all kind of different commands to tell it what codec to use, tell it destination, all kind of different things I could put under to tell you router what to do. Dial pair 0, you have no control. You cannot configure nor change any default settings. So it's, the default settings here is the disadvantages. Well, maybe, yeah. So dial pair 0 handles only incoming voice codec. It's not hard coded to any specific codec, right? So remember codecs, you could use G.71124, which will use 80 kilobits per second. So whatever codec I give you, you have to take it, right? But under normal dial pair, you could configure what codec you want to use. But dial pair 0, you have no say in the matter. No DTMF relay. DTMF sends dial digits outside the audio stream. Mm-hmm. Well, you wouldn't. Well, if you're using that, let's not see you understand clearly. So if you're using that pair 0, you as a user wouldn't know, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. For X4. What missing? The dial pair 2510? Now the call wouldn't happen because it wouldn't know where to send it. Yeah, you incoming that incoming dial pair. Yeah, just a match incoming dial pair. Just so the call will still complete because there's an outgoing dial pair, right? So the call will still complete because there's an outgoing dial pair. But like I said, if you don't have an outgoing dial pair, well then case done, right? Nothing can happen. So all the just telling you watch way. So you must remember we said that you must have an incoming and outgoing dial. You must match an incoming dial pair, you must match an outgoing dial pair. Outgoing dial pair is the most important. You must have an outgoing dial pair for the call to complete. Right? And but if you don't have the incoming dial pair, it is that will give you one. You come like you can't afford a lawyer. The government will give you a lawyer. You have to take away, but you have to take away again. Right? Right? But it can't work the other way around. If you have an incoming dial pair, but you don't have an outgoing dial pair, the system can't give you an outgoing dial pair automatically. It can't work, you know?
Morning, gents. Right, I
Yeah,
was just
morning.
following. I was just going to ask that question. So yeah, right, you answered it perfectly.
You come
Yeah,
in there.
you could afford to forget incoming, but not outgoing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You must have the outgoing that. Right? Um, so there's no DTMF relay, right? DTMF relay sends that it's outside the audio screen. Yeah, to be honest. I know DTMF is the direct dial tone wave punching, right? I try to understand what I mean by it. It sends dial digits outside of the audio stream. Yeah, I could always check that. IP precedence zero. This is probably the most painful default of the RPS0. Setting the traffic IP precedence to zero strips off QoS markets. The router now treats the voice traffic the same, right? So your stream no longer with regards to QoS, you remember voice or you always try to give voice precedence over all the other traffic. On this dial on common dial PS0, you don't get that. Right? So one voice if you send dial PS0, when it hits the queue, the router will just say you have to go to the back of the line, you have to wait your turn. Unlike other dial pairs where it will tell it once it have the QoS settings, it will tell it, hey, voice traffic, yeah, you go in front of the line. You know, you come like somebody differently abled or some senior citizens in the bank, they will go in front of the line, right? But 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 dial PS0, you can be old, you can be disable, you have to wait your turn in the back of the line. Because it doesn't give you no advantage with priority, right? Um, father, so when you have, if there's something that you, if there's there, you know, sometimes you're talking to somebody on the phone and the person tell you, hold on, you know, like they're looking for something. So there might be almost about a minute again, because you waited on the person to find wherever, right. So the person say, hold on, and hey, let me see if I find the document you're asking for. And the person looking, and you there and hold it on the phone. The father's really to save to save bandwidth, right? So it enables that. So it does enable that, but sometimes we just mostly turn off that. I think it has some disadvantages of using VAD though. 'Cause if you will, I will show you a lot of where we use where we say no VAD, you know. Yeah, I can't remember why we just turn it off. Anyway, we could always yeah. But it will work normally if it's picking up audio. Yeah, it will work normally. You know, that is just for periods of just dead silence, you know? Yeah. 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 So you have it have no resource reservation protocol. So again, this is a lack of sometimes you can reserve bandwidth and so on. QoS will reserve bandwidth and so on. Now that would call this resource reservation protocol support, and you that just it removes it. So yeah, again, no advantage with regards to reserving bandwidth space or whatever, right? Yeah, the last sentence, the router does not reserve any bandwidth specifically for the LPS0 calls. So again, you are You have no special because there are different ways you could prioritize traffic by with QoS you could prioritize traffic by putting the voice traffic in front of the queue, or you could give it its own lane. So it's only voice traffic passing under you. So you give it 20. If you have 100, if you have not 100, let me say you have a 1 meg link, you could dedicate about 200 kilobits for voice traffic alone. You reserving that. You don't get advantage with dial pair zero, right? Fixed rate voice. The router limits the bandwidth available for fax signals, right? Maximum allowed VoIP codec. So you can, what I'm saying here is that good for fax calls and so on either, right? No application support. That pair zero cannot refer calls to outside applications such as IVR systems. So you cannot even so imagine you're using Call Manager Express or Cisco Unit. Not Call Manager Express, Cisco Unity Express or Cisco Unification, Cisco Connection, Unity Connection. So Cisco Unity Express, Cisco Unity Connection, which is the bigger one, or Contact Center. It doesn't work with these other applications. This is an application which integrates with Call Manager or CME in order for it to be a contact center or your auto attendant or IVR in the case of a contact center. It don't support that, right? They carry for the calls to these applications. And it can't remember direct in one dialect. Well, I tell you how manage some big boy CEO in the company here one. His people calling him and had to go through the auto attendant to reach him. He want you to give your number to call him directly. That pair zero don't support that. You have to go through you have to go through to the, you have to actually treat the receptionist. Because it wouldn't call the auto attendant, so you can set it up to go direct to the receptionist, and the receptionist now will have to transfer it to the CEO. That's how it would work with that pair zero. There's no direct DID with that. Right? So you've seen some of the disadvantages in Nigeria. Where you're asking about this morning. You already don't want to use that PS0 at all costs unless you really have no choice. But say in light of all the features, it's best to always match an outbound dial pair where you want to control your own configuration. That was said in here, right? So you go down to digit manipulation, right? So you can add and remove digits and so on. We kind of touched on this yesterday. With the no digit strip command or forward digits and so on. Right? So you have any table here, you have prefix digits where you can prefix. Remember yesterday we were talking about under the dial pair, you might have 9001 and then you can call because like Europe it's 001 and then the number, right? But unlike North America where you might call one and then 868 in Trinidad, in case of Trinidad you call 1868 and then the person's number. In terms of in Europe, you call like 011. I think Guyana and Suriname is 011 also. So you want to set up that you put in your 9011 and those are specific numbers, right? But you don't want you know it will strip the nine. If you put in 9001 under the dial pair, you know this under a POTS dial pair, it will strip these numbers because you actually put in these numbers. These are the specific numbers that you put in. It will strip those numbers automatically. So you don't want to prefix the 001. And I showed you this scenario yesterday. Anyhow, when we could just touch on it again. Then you have digit strips. And I showed you some voice translation the profile yesterday. Right? So let me see the scenarios here. And we'll get more practical. Right? So practical one, PSTN failover using the prefix command. One of the benefits of using the voice communication is the ability to have more than one path to a destination. So let me see this. Um, so PSTN, the ID range 480.555.5x. So the 3x is the wildcard here. And then you have 512.555.6xx is the other wildcard for this. Right. So you can see there Nigeria and Kobe. Uh, you have the Arizona office and you have the Texas office. You have two ways to reach phones from one office to the next, right? What do you think is the preferred method to call the between offices? To the one on the PSTN.
One.
Right, because
You don't have to pay.
right, so the PSTN is supposed to be the backup method in case you want down or something, right? So the organizations prefers to use the right, as you said, or the IP1 as the primary communication path between Arizona and Texas. If the IP1 fail, calls between the officers should use the PSTN for their communication. Right? So one of the benefits of using VoIP is merging the voice and security one, seamless communication. Because book calls are traveling over the IP1, users in the Arizona office can dial the extension 6xxx, right? So I in Arizona and I want to reach somebody in to the dial plan is I had to go through all the other numbers here. I just had to call the last four. I just had to call. So I call now manager somebody they may be 6,000. I call 6,000 and it goes over, it passes through the IP1. I said it, right? Um, and vice versa. The users from I think it's from Texas to Arizona will call 5xx extension, right? Um, it would be convenient to require all users in the Arizona office to dial Texas office rather than the four digits, right? It will be inconvenient. So dynamic want a PSTN failover configuration. So you have dial pair 10, so you're using a VoIP dial pair, and you tell it destination pattern 6 dot dot dot, the three wildcard. So once the system see anything starting with 6, it will send it to this IP address. Because this is the Arizona CME, right? So once the Arizona CME see anything starting with 6, it will send it to the IP address using this dial pair. Right? So, yeah, so the Texas IP is .2 and Arizona is .1. Preference 0. Right. Exit. Then you have another dial pair now. This is a port dial pair. Right? Destination pattern 6 dot dot dot. Same thing like the void dial pair. But this time it's ports. It send it through port. This is a CAS. Once like we're telling again 90. Once you see this if it's 23, you know it's a PRI. But once you see 1/0:1, you know it's a CAS, right? Um, preference 1, no digit strip. So it's telling you not to strip the 6, which is the specific number under the dial pair, and then tell it to prefix this, right? So going back to the diagram, this is the port telling it to send it through, right? So that's the Arizona office configuration, and the Texas configuration will just be the reverse destination pattern 5 dot dot dot. You send it to this IP address. If once somebody press 5 and 3 digits, right? Exit, and then you have the same thing destination pattern. This time you're sending it through. So if what it's telling you here is if it's using this dial pair, right? Add on this number to it. Add on these digits to it. So let me say you call let's say you're calling 6,000 and it going through the PSTN not over the one. It had to be a you can't send the 6,000 through the over the one. The over the not the one, the PSTN. You have to send something a PSTN number. So it will be 1512555 6000, and that will ring the phone in Texas. Now, questions. How you prefer to use the one. Why the one down it will use the pot, well, it will use the T1. What tells the system to use the one first? Try to use. Yeah, but
Preference.
it, right, but it a command we under the
The
dial pay
preference command.
ah
But
Is the preference
the lower,
command?
the lower the cost, the lower the cost. I was looking at it. The lower the cost, the more preferential it is. I was looking to
yeah,
see if it
yeah,
was the higher the cost, the more preferential. But then from the config, it says the lower the cost.
yeah. So preference zero, no, preference zero is by they just I think they just put the preference zero just for us to see, but by default your dial
Zero.
pay is preference zero, yes.
Oh,
But if I show you the commands and thing that I have on for NIB and so on, you wouldn't see me put in preference here because I know by default. The other one, I have it as preference
Right.
one, right? Yeah. Well, my scenario with NIB a little different because different, you know. That's what I'm not going. That's what I'm not going now. Yeah. Incoming calls from TST.
that makes sense. You gotta let Nigel take over NIB, man.
Huh?
You gotta let Nigel take over NIB. Sounding sharp.
Yeah. Nice. Not that preference I want.
I realize I got no VAD, no voice activation detection.
Yeah. Right. So incoming calls to call manager. So this IP address is the call manager subscriber in San Fernando at the DR site. Right. So I have a translation. When the call comes in, when the public calls NIB, I have a translation pattern that translates the incoming call to zero. Right.
Now, record it here. When you say translate it to zero, is it that you're sending that call to the operator?
Not really. The auto attendant. Well, the IVR
Yeah.
in this case.
Okay.
Yeah. So and we have a lot of numbers. So and most time TSTT, which is the main where they're using mostly, they also have flow. They will send the 7 digits, but I what TSTT is so inconsistent that sometimes they will send the 868, the 10 digits, or
And
sometimes
sometimes send the
they will
one.
send all 11 digits. So anyway they take it, I have a match. Say they send us the 7 digit, I have it say okay, rule one, if you see this number, translate it to zero. If you rule two, well, rule eight, translation rule eight. So under the translation rule, then you have a rule under that. You tell it to translate it to the 10 digit to zero and Also, if you send 11 digits, translate to 0. And then, right, so that's for the 1, 2. But and then instead of, they have 6 to, they have some 6 to 4 numbers, some 6 to 5 numbers, some 6 to 7 numbers, and so on. So I tell it, okay, after that, I tell it to, once I see these first two numbers, anything else after, match 0. So if it's 6 to 4, 6 to 5, anything like that, translate it to 0.
Is the number dots after the 6 2 is it significant?
Wild card. So that it could be anything.
Oh, but it's the wild card. It's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5 wild card.
From yeah. So it meaning, okay. Well, the dot means 0 to 9. So the third digit is, it could be 620. The third digit could be 620, 621, going up the road to 9.
And the fourth
Right?
digit is
Before
same
it's the
also.
same thing, and you're going up the road.
Okay.
So I match it anything after but it must start with 6-2. Like the
Okay.
specific numbers, and then the other 5 digits could be from anything between 0 to 9.
Okay.
Right? And
Oh, I have to do the same thing down below now with the full.
Yeah. So I also have the 868 62 for
And
the 10 digit and the 11.
okay.
Right? Now these are the IDs. So I tell it, if you see 623044448, ring this extension directly. No auto transit it to 1239 and then send it to call manager, right?
Okay.
And call manager will know that it's an extension and will ring it. Right. So I'm gonna look back for my preference again. Right. So this is some call manager configs I'm giving you here. I don't think it's this one. Right, is that one we were looking at? Right, so yeah, we have translation profile and so on, and then you put your translation profile under the dial pair. So once it is translated to 0, I have another dial pair says that our destination pattern 0. Once you see the 0, send it to this IP address, which is the IP address of the subscriber. But now you are seeing preference 1. I think dial pair 200 will be the I don't know where I have dial pair 2. The system that just mix up all the numbers. I don't know why it doesn't keep it in order.
Search up.
Right. I'm gonna take off Alexa only comment. I'm gonna take off Alexa. I'm a Bluetooth going back to my Alexa every minute. She's saying some shit. Right. So this is you realize, so the point I was making, guys, you realize this is the IP address of the publisher, the main that the one I want them to send the destination pattern 02. Right? So
Yeah.
once you transit it to 0 and you see 0, send it to this IP address, which is the publisher. So if the publisher down, then sure, but okay, before I go there, you realize I have no preference 0 here. Right?
Yep.
Because like I said, preference 0 is the default. But under the dial pair 201, which the difference is the IP address is 129, where the IP address is 129, which is the subscriber, I have to put as preference 1 so that the system know, well, once you cannot reach 128.0.4, go to 129.0.4. Right? So that's how the preferences work.
So hold on. Just remind me now, the dial pair is a trunk, right?
Well, dial pair is like static routes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's really setting up a session.
Yeah, it's really like static route. So you're telling the router what to do with calls, right? I know we went through it. Yeah, I know unfortunately you cannot join yesterday. When you got a chance, you could get
Oh,
the recording from Nigel.
okay.
But just a quick overview. Um, like this is a flow. This is a flow. I think flow does send 10 digits. Where TCT mostly sends 7, but they mostly match this dial pair here. Flow will match the 868, and this is the flow number, the 7 digits here, but they will send the 868. So like this dial pair now, once somebody calls this number, people wouldn't call it, obviously they wouldn't call it, unless you're coming from outside, people will call it 877-4647 to call NIB. That's really 8774 NIS, right? That's what it means. Once the router see these digits hit it, well, Flow will send you call the 877, Flow will send the 10 digits, right? Flow will send the 10 digits. And then, so once the router see these 10 digits coming in, this is the incoming call number. The router will use the translation profile. So this is the translation profile that I created. What I was showing you, well, I show you all the translation rule, but I didn't show you. Well, I think yesterday I showed the guys the translation
Profile.
the guys yesterday translation profile, and then
The
you put the
profile points to the
profile under
rule.
the you put it, yeah. So let me see for flow 877. What's our 877? Yeah. Right. So like it's like this here. So you remember this is
This
translation
is a
rule 5.
rule.
Yeah. So translation rule 5 telling the system once you see this number coming in, translate it to 0, right?
Right.
And so that is, but you had to take note of your translation rule number. So that is 5. And then you create a profile, voice translation profile, and you can give it a name here. So I just name it something, so I will know what it means.
Oh,
So that's a name. So you must put in these 3 commands here. You must put in this first 2 commands here, and then if you press a question mark, it will say word for you to put it, for you to name it, right? So this is the name that you could choose where you want here.
okay.
And then under that now we put translate call 5. So the 5 now will
5.
match the rule on top,
Okay. All right. Cool.
right?
Yeah, I understand that now. So I see how the profile tie back to the rule, and then the profile come into
Right. And then now
the
we have
mapping.
right, and then now we have the if it was an order that we would have find these things so easy. But anyhow, so you have, and then you put that under the, and then you put that under the dial pair now. So
Clear
the
now.
pair will say, okay, I'm seeing 868-877-4647. What to do with this, right? It's our translation profile under my dial pair saying translated as 0. Once you translate it as 0, another destination part, the router will say, okay, translate as 0. What to do with it now? Oh, I have a dial pair here now saying what to do with the 0. Send it to this IP address. We will look for the preference 1 to send it to the publisher. It will send it to the publisher, and then it will send it to the call manager publisher, and the call manager publisher will take it from there.
Okay.
Right? And same thing happens. So that is how the preference works. So in this scenario here, which is different from NIB, you wanted to choose the one or first and then the one, but like I said, they put the preference 0 just for us to see it, right? But no, but what I'm saying you wouldn't, but under if you're doing an implementation, you don't need to put any preference. If you put it in, no problem. You know, you just come like here, just repeating the command there. So I don't know how much you saw, Ricardo, with this scenario. If you
Yeah, I
see
saw that.
you saw the diagram and everything.
But yes, I saw word when I was looking
Yeah,
at the text or
right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, so before the calls, 6 dot to go over the use the one. You put in the IP so the system will know under this dial pair. like I say, keep on, it come like a static route, you're telling it what to do. When somebody press 6 and any 3 other numbers, it will send it to this IP address. If for some reason the one it realizes it can't go for the one, but the one is done for whatever reason. It tells it to send it through the T1 port.
T1 or PodSat.
Ah,
This is T110 channel 1.
yeah. Yeah, so T1 will most likely people well 24 channels.
Okay.
So one cable 24 like that 24 lines.
Right.
Right? And when you set up the controller and so on, you will get these 24 lines and so you will under the dial pair we'll put this port to 1-0:1. It will notice a through T1.
And
And it will run.
if you have multiple T1 to this will be like the first T1, 0:1 and a second T1.
All T1s will be the system choose which channel you want to use, whether channel 10, 20.
No, I'm thinking that we have like 2 T1 cards in the system.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So if you have more than one T1, the voice, when you bring up the two, you know, 48 channels.
Oh no, I was looking at
Still marks you
I was
have.
looking where it's sport and they have 1/0. So and if the one specify the first T1 card and if you had a second T1 card, it will be port 2 something.
Okay, me here?
No, right, no, to the left. The first, so you have port space 1 that one. Does that what signify like the card number itself? I know the T1 has 24 channels, but I'm
Right.
just trying. So
It most likely going to be like port 1/1.
okay,
Because you have ports, the T1 card, so the one represents the sub, what is call it? Remember on behind the router you'll have slot 1, 2, and 0, 2,
right.
right.
So that's the
So in
slot.
this case, yeah. So
Okay.
it could have been port 00 if it was any 0 slots.
Slot. Okay, right. So that's
In this
whatever is
case,
in this slot number.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this case, it seems that they have the card in slot 1.
Okay.
And the 0 marks the number. So if your card only have one port, if your T1 card only have one port, it will be 0. If it has two, it will have 0 and 1. So in this case, you will have 1/1.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. And then like I was saying before, the user wouldn't know. So the user calls 6,000, for example. The one down, the user calls 6,000, the system realizes that the one is down, it will prefix this number onto the 6,000, right? And it will go over the PSTN. But like I say, you cannot send just 600 to the 6,000 over the PSTN. You have to give it a PSTN number. Right? You got that? Makes sense, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So that's how prefixed works. Right, and then they were just repeating what I say here. The preference 0 command in the example 67 on the dial pair 10 on both routers is redundant. Right? So I just they just put it in just for that. Router RAM chooses that better use. If you create a multiple with the exact right, so what they're telling you here, if it had the same preferences. So if you don't put it in preference 1 day, preference 1 under the command for it to go over the PSTN, the router will just say, okay, both of them is preference 0 by default. And I will just, one time I will send it over the 1, next time I'll send it over the PSTN, right?
Also, it
And
will
also,
look balance in a round robin way. Okay.
yeah. And you don't want that, so you'll put in your preference command. Right, I think we more or less covered that part. What I was saying yesterday also, because what you wrote on that POTS dial pay, don't worry about that on that VoIP dial pay. It doesn't do automatic stripping. This here, right? So this command here tell it no digit strip.
Okay.
If you don't put in that command and somebody press 6,000, it will only send the 000.
Zeros.
Yeah, it will strip the 6. So
Okay.
that's why you must put in the no digit strip if you don't want it to strip anything. Right? But what the strip will come in nice. Let me say let's say this is not a let's say this is not a dial pair where you're making calls. No, this is not over this. You're not calling your site under your network, right? You're calling over the PST, you're calling
That's
a
it.
cell phone or landline or something. And
Right. So
you have the 9. Most people use 9 for most users in a company with that 9 first, although NIB is 8.
to get
You know,
out.
yeah, to get out, and then you call the 7 digits or whatever you want to call after that. So you might put a dial pair 9 dot, and then 7 dots to call out.
So you have to strip that 9.
The system
That's
will automatically strip the 9.
oh, once you put no strip, once you don't have a no
Yeah,
the no strip. Okay.
yeah. So the system will, so that's how it comes in handy, right? It will just automatically strip the 9 which you want to happen, and it will send these other 7 digits, the other wildcard,
Okay.
right? But like I said, but if it's a VoIP dial pair, if it's a VoIP dial pair, you will have to put in the well, you will have to, like I use, if you see I have another command that stripping the 8. There's so much dial pairs I have, it's hard to find these dial pairs. Right, I have a strip 8 command here. Right, so if somebody want to call, like it have 9, somebody want to call 990, and they press 8 first, because this is an emergency number I put in here, right? So
Right.
you press 8999, like in the police is still 999, Nigel. Right. 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 So you want to call the police. No, I have it. For some people will just call 999 and let it ring. So something happened in NIB. Let me say 990 is just fire. When they call 99, some people just press 990, it will call. So I'm matching both. But if the person knew that he had a dial first to go out, some people might call 8999.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I match in case whether they press only 9 or they press or they use the 8, I match both, right? I have a translation profile here telling it that once somebody press 8, strip it. Because this is a VoIP dial pair. Now, if it's a POS dial pair, I wouldn't have to worry about that. Right? I wouldn't have to worry about having to use a translation profile to strip the 8. But then because it's a VoIP profile, I always say use a translation profile to tell the system to strip the 8. Once you see 8, strip it to nothing.
Okay.
Right. So I forget what I was talking about. Something here with a trigger. Right, we're talking about the digit strips, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the stripping digits and so on. So anyhow, that's why they have the no digit strip command. Scenario 2, directing operator calls to the receptionist. The organization should want to direct all calls to the operator number 0 to the operator number 0 to reception at extension 5000. Right. So most time we know that when we press 0, we go to most companies you press 0, you will go to the operator's number. But the operator extension really wouldn't be um the operator extension wouldn't be 0, right?
Can I call attendant?
Huh? Yeah. So remember earlier on, I think only Nigel was one at the time we used PLAR, right? Because this is a universal transformation, you want to change a dial number 0 to 5,000. So the operator number is really 5,000. So you want to translate that 0 to 5,000. You can accomplish the objective by using this command here, num-exp global configuration command. I showed us this example. So under the port, so this port here is the port that connects. So this is analog. This is not T1 or anything. This is our FXO that comes in from the PSTN to the CME router. So you go under that port and you put this command connection PLAR0, right? And then you match with this command here, you match the 0. So you put in the number exp command and you put 0 and it tells 5,000, which really tells the system that once somebody press 0, so this, let me say it have some I don't know if it may have an auto attendant and they might say, let's say 0 for the operator. As the person press 0, this command will translate the call to 5,000, which is the receptionist extension. Any question?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, for some reason I jumped it through. All right, so let me go down here now. Anytime the number 0 is dialed from any organization, the router automatically transform. So whether it's the person, so anybody that calls the 0, really, the person calling in press 0 to go to the 5,000. If anybody inside the organization, it will dial the 0 also. And just to be able to do one more scenario based on the time. We only see no message that Dave canceled this morning, right? Just making sure. Right. So as organization move to web connection, they are finding cost saving benefits by integration. This type of allows the organization to get higher code single location with simple value. Always check the so although the centralized PSN also right. So you might have a remote site and they will call through. So I know a lot of people that use this is based on what I'm reading there, I believe this is all right. I think this before I go into this, it has something called what they call that again, boy? Uh, but it's a cost saving feature, right? So let's say I want to that 52 Barbados, Trinidad and Jamaica. And I think 52 does this because I think it's not illegal in the Caribbean. Right? So what will happen if I want to call um, an office in, let me say I do in, all right, let me use quasi, By engineers, that's even though you might be in Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, you might be working, you might be doing a job for a customer. So let's say Ricardo, for instance, is in Jamaica, and he doing a work for UTC in Trinidad. Instead of Ricardo calling 1868 and then use the UTC number, right? And it goes over the PSTN. So you have to pay for the international call or regional, whatever they want to call it. What a lot of companies will do, and I think Fujitsu have done it. The call will be routed through it will go over the one between the Jamaica office to the Trinidad office, and then from the Trinidad office, the call will go to UTC. So let me say UTC is 625-2500, all Ricardo will dial is 625-2500, and that call will go over the one because the PBX are connected. The call manager in Jamaica and Trinidad are connected. It will go from one call manager to the next, and then when it hit the Trinidad call manager, then it will call UTC. So it will come like a local call to save money. You understand that scenario? Right. So a lot of companies use that to save international calls. Right? And it's the same thing. We could call Jamaica businesses, and just by going through Jamaica's PBX, so you look like a local call also from here in Trinidad and Barbados.
Yeah, so a lot of the telecos were legally trying to block this call, saying you were doing bypass.
Yeah.
Yeah. But after a while, they gave up on that, realized it's a dead deal.
Yeah. Right. So what I'm getting from this scenario here is that they will use this for. So you might have that's so remote sites might just will be calling to, so like NIB. When NIB make a call, whether they're in Tobago, the offices in Tobago, San Fernando, Deep South, and so on, every call goes through the PSTN. It have to go back to the head office in Port of Spain in order to be, and then it will be. So what people used to say in these remote sites, I'm seeing a Port of Spain number, even though you're calling from the Point 14 office, but I'm seeing a Port of Spain caller ID. Because why? Because it's even though you're calling from the Point 14 office, the call has been routed through the PBX. Well, not the PBX, through the voice gateway at the head office. What they are saying here is in case you might want to leave some emergency calls you might want to leave some emergency calls that will just go through the but this is really for big countries, because what will happen is I think there are scenarios where I think if you call 911, they can send a response based on your location. They can detect your locations based on your caller ID, the calling information. So if you are at a remote site in like America, and you call through your caller emergency number through the responders will think the let me see. I think what they were saying is sometimes you might just call 911 and you might get a chance to talk to the operator, right? To tell them, okay, I'm located in Texas, at this address in Texas and so on. You pick up the number, hello, and then bam, the fire. If it's a fire or a burglar or somebody, you run and you didn't get to finish the call.
Right.
They will use that now to send a response team based on your telephone information, the caller ID and so on that they send, right? So in this scenario, they want the remote site to be able to call emergency numbers
Through their
local. So if they call here, so in this case, the 911 will know that the person's calling from in Texas instead of through the head office.
Okay.
Right? As you can see here, the dynamic want to PS to fail over. So you go on a dial pair port because it's a port you're using. They have that diagram. I'm not saying, they didn't label the ports. Right, so you have a destination pattern 1 1, and you tell it to send it through this port here, which probably is an FXO port. Right there, this had to be because a T1 will have a cooldown and so on, right? So this is so you have your calling through. So when you call, you're calling businesses or people and so on, it will go through it might go to the T1 or the one wherever you to go back to, and reroute it through the and it'll be routed through the PSN at the head office. But in this case, the router at the remote site may have about a few FXO ports so that the people at them could call emergency numbers. So in this case, like port 100, if you call 911, it will go through this port, right? And they put in a note to strip to make sure that it don't strip the numbers. And same thing, that's like what I did for NIB. You create, in case the person decide instead of calling 911, the person might call the 9 in front, right? And in this case, the person you wanted to strip the first 9, so you instead of putting no digit strip, you say forward digit 3, and it will forward the 3 from right to left. So just forward these 3 numbers here, so that the command you can use if you just so you can tell it how much numbers you want to send. It will send those 3 numbers instead. Where you want to strip the 9.
Okay.
Right, and you do the same thing here. So you have that part. So you have what this time is 1 is 0.0/1, and then same thing here. No digit strip, and then you have the 99111, and then you forward 3 digits. Right, so that one fairly simple, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Right, and then just talk about the right. So that's explaining why more or less why I explained just now. With the forward digit 3 and the no digit strip, and so. Right, so we are 1 minute at 10. So tomorrow we'll continue with using the translation profiles, which I was showing you all with NIB conference. Right,
Okay.
so yeah, all right. So thank you guys. Well, not tomorrow, but well, I'd ask all the first when is a good another day for you all.
Next week.
No problem. Monday?
Yeah, I free up a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but yeah, I'm free a bit more next week.
How about Nigeria and Ricardo?
Monday.
I'm not seeing anything in my calendar for Monday as yet, so
Right.
I would say I'm good.
So you can
I
say
will do it the same time.
yeah, same time at 8 o'clock again. Well,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
7 o'clock my time. Yeah, man, that's fine.
8 o'clock,
Yeah.
Ricardo's time?
Yeah, man.
Right, so that's 9 o'clock our time.
Huh? No, 7 o'clock Ricardo time.
No,
Wait, hold on.
yeah, so here 8
Yeah.
o'clock.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you come in for the 7 then?
Yeah,
You sure?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Cool.
Man, all
Yeah.
right, cool.
So here
All right.
we got meet up again in the other WebEx.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, man.
Cool.